Hello, I'm Jared Chavez, and this is a video on modernism in poetry. Art was made by Viana Waldner, and it is voiced by me, Jared Chavez. Modernism is an expression of art. The reason it differs from Romanticism is it deals with the concepts of death. It also talks about the decline of culture. This also differs it from Romanticism. And you may see modernism poets as imagists. They use symbols, they use pictures, their poems make a picture.
The first poem we will read is Buffalo Bill by E. Cummings. Buffalo Bill's defunct, who used to ride a water-smooth silver stallion and break 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pigeons just like that. Jesus, he was a handsome man. And what I want to know is, how do you like your blue-eyed boy, Mr. Death?
The first poem we will be looking at is Buffalo Bill by E. Cummings. Buffalo Bill is a poem that is up to the reader's interpretation. One could look at it and call it a ballad for a fallen hero. Others can look at it as an ironic tale about a hero who kills the helpless people and animals of the area. And in the end, he ends up dying himself. Now, this can come back to modernism by the decline of culture and the concept of death. Death makes an appearance multiple times, with obviously Buffalo Bill dying and Buffalo Bill killing the rest of the people. The decline of culture comes with the area of what is a hero. What is a real hero? Is a real hero someone who saves all, or is a real hero do whatever he takes to get the job done? It also is a non-linear story because it is talked in the past tense, and this talks about modernism, how it has an unorthodox writing style to it.
The next poem I will read is Landscape with the Fall of Icarus by William Carlos Williams. Now, I could not fit the entire poem onto the slide, but I will still read it to you. According to Bruegel, when Icarus fell, it was spring. A farmer was plowing his field, the whole pageantry of the year was awake tingling near. The edge of the sea concerned with itself, sweating in the sun that melted the wing's wax. Insignificantly, off the coast, there was a splash quite unnoticed. This was Icarus drowning.
The next poem is Landscape with the Fall of Icarus by William Carlos Williams. The interesting thing about this poem is Williams is writing about a painting. This is a great example of imagist, painting the picture for the reader with his words. In the poem and painting, Icarus can be seen as a small, insignificant person drowning. You almost do not see him on the picture. This ties to the reality of death, and not everyone dies a relevant death. Icarus is drowning, but life goes on as if nothing happened. Viana illustrates the poem by making Icarus significant and making him the only thing on the canvas.
The next poem I'll be reading to you is In a Station of the Metro by Ezra Pound. The apparition of these faces in the crowd, petals on a wick black bough.
In a Station of the Metro is also an imagist poem. Starting the poem by describing the people at the train station as leaves on a tree branch. This connects the urban world of the metro with the natural world. But Ezra Pound makes this visible by painting the picture with his words. The poem also connects with culture by describing people's faces as petals on a tree, using petals to describe human fragility and the briefity of life. This is interpreted by Viana by drawing people's faces on the tree branch here, and it's a great job by our artist.
Another poem we will be looking at is Anecdote of the Jar by Wallace Stevens. Starts off with, I placed a jar in Tennessee, and round it was upon a hill. It made the slovenly wilderness surround that hill. The wilderness rose up to it, and sprawled around, no longer wild. The jar was round upon the ground, and tall, and of a port in air. It took dominion everywhere. The jar was gray and bare. It did not give of bird or bush, like nothing else in Tennessee. In Anecdote of the Jar, readers can interpret that Wallace Stevens is talking about the decline of culture. One could see the jar as American settlers, and how they have been placed in the States. Americans begin to take over, and a decline of traditional Native American culture begins, as the jar changes and the environment around it and the people around it have to mold to the jar, aka the Americans. The last poem we'll read is Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if I had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. There are multiple interpretations of Robert Frost's Fire and Ice. Some say it's maybe commentary on war and conflict. Others say relationships with people. I will explain both. Commentary with war and conflict would be during this poem was written around World War I, and you have the Axis powers and the Allies all fighting, people wondering who's going to win on each side. But what they don't realize is that the world around them is being destroyed as they're fighting this pointless war. With relationship with people, you could see fire as passion, while ice as being cool, calm, and collected. If you don't have enough passion, a relationship won't work. But neither if you don't not calm, if you're just too passionate, that'll also ruin a relationship. So in Robert Frost's way is that it doesn't matter. You need to find the medium between everything.